what all the microphone's picking up, but tonight we are working on finishing up the cabochon from a very weird slab that we cut not that long ago, and have had people interested in getting this one done. So yeah, so we're going live. What it is this guy here, and as you can see, it's got a witch's face in it, which is, you know, always fun. Probably can't see, actually, it's still pretty rough. Been at it for a while. There's a lot of material that had to be taken off the bottom of it. It's way too chunky. Hopefully when this is done, it is going to be kind of cool. Thinner. And all it really is, as far as the stone goes, is plume agate from none other than Graveyard Point, because, you know, what other plume agate would have a witch's face in it? Our cabochons, we use a lot of leaded crystal for a cap instead of quartz. Seems to create a more three-dimensional look. With the leaded crystal, you definitely don't want to go breathing the dust it makes. Probably not that great for you. Go to the next page. Definitely figured there's no use filming all the boring part at the beginning when I'm doing the rough work. Yeah, this is how cabochons are made right here. And cabochon is just a fancy word for the stone after it's been shaped and had a dome put on it. Let's go a little quick over here. Yeah, not riveting, but you know. interesting to watch them get done. The final product is always kind of cool. There's quite a few people that wanted to see this one finished up, so we're getting after it. Alright. So right now, that's what she looks like. Pretty blasé. Hopefully I got it in the middle of the screen. Never can tell. But the face is going to be right over here. Again, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's still pretty hazy. So I'm going to move on to the next stage. The grit I'm using here is about a 300 grit. I don't know the exact number. And at this point, the wheels here go from a more rigid to like this one is a softer pattern. And it's all diamond impregnated, whatever you want to call it, pattern. Some of our other social media outlets, we have people that are like already bidding on this one. Trouble is, I don't know if it's going to make it out of the house because my better half is really interested in this one. And what Mama says goes. So again, tonight we are finishing up cabochon from a slab of graveyard point plume agate. It has a very interesting feature in it. The face of a witch, or whatever. I don't know all that stuff very well. I just make the rocks pretty. We'll get people sending in their rocks, whatever, and just do our best to make mementos for them, or turn them into jewelry. Occasionally we have to work on our own stuff, which is kind of fun. Like to keep the edges a little bit sanded so that they don't chip on me, because that always sucks. Edge a little bit. I'm going to have a really high girdle, but whenever you make a doublet like this, a doublet cabochon, well, it's going to be thick. And sometimes thick isn't all that bad. when you're working on the girdle, which is this part here, the girdle is kind of like the side of it, like right here. That's what, when you put it into a piece of jewelry, it can grab onto. But you want to have it at a little bit of an angle. There's a fancy tool you can use to do this with, but I've found that at the end of the day, you can do pretty much just as good a job with your eyeballs and your fingers. Never hear the end of that. Purple's looking much better. So I'm sure she'd be telling stories about grandiose adventures that we got this rock from, but actually this came from a museum. I'd say it's very exciting. We're fortunate to have a good partnership with one of the local museums so we can get really good material to work on. People send in stuff too, and makes it fun. Sometimes on our videos we'll feature the rocks that people send us. Nice. It's starting to come around now. This leaded crystal that I used for the doublet part, the cap, really soft, so it takes a crazy good polish and almost acts like a magnifying glass for the details of the stone underneath. Just kind of cool. And the fun part. Some stone workers or artisan makers like to keep the girdle, the top of the girdle, like very angular, but I like to kind of round mine out. I've seen some to hurt themselves on a piece of jewelry, for God's sake. As far as the wheels go that I use, someone asked a quick question there. This one is the very rough grit. It's like a 60-90. This one's like a 150. Then I go 300, and then I get into the polishing stages over here. Coming around nice. One last trip across the dome. Show this bad boy off a little bit. The face is definitely coming out. Right, here she is. Hopefully everybody can see it. Now we'll move on to the polishing stages here. I need to move the phone just a little bit. Just there. Let's give this a shot here now that we're onto the polishing stage. Yeah, what we're working on is getting this cabochon made that has the witch face in it. Here we go. Moving on to the polishing stage. Oh shit, I need more water. Nothing like a nice sloppy mess here. We'll get her done. Yeah, and apologize for all the noise. Don't have the equipment to do anything fancy yet. As far as videotaping goes, live event. On the back of cabochon, I do like to polish them up at least a little bit. Sometimes we'll leave the backs open. You can see the back of the stone. Nothing fancy though back there. Nothing fancy in the back. And again, now we're into the first stage of polishing. On the girdle. At this point, not a lot of material is coming off. All the really scary parts are done where you can like take out way too much material in a hurry. And around the edges of the girdle. Taking off any machining marks that you might be able to see still. This wheel definitely gets rid of them. I felt something there. Continue on. Looking much better. Okay, nice. Yeah, not riveting video, but it can either lull you to sleep or learn something if you're into working on stone. Never know. Not that I'm in a group. Because, oh my god. Some guys actually just slay this. I think it's so cool. But we do what we do. We do it as good as we can. Haven't had anybody ask for a refund yet, so that's still good. lot in it too. You just barely feel it. Still see it. Come on. Come on. There we go. Feels better. Yeah, this is one of our first shows, if you want to call it that was go live on YouTube, so we got a lot of kinks to work out, but at least we got a cool piece of rock here that we're working on tonight. One might say it's got personality. Alright, here we go. If there's anybody still watching here, you can see the face right here. That's why it's the witch face. Hopefully the camera's picking it up at least a little bit. Come on. But yeah, that's after, what, the 600 grit, so this thing's going to take a wicked good polish. Go to the 3000. Again, for those who join later, I worked the back of the canvas on just a little bit, just to, I don't know, so it looks more complete, I guess. I don't make it too fancy though, because a lot of times it's hidden. But sometimes we'll do an open back or whatever, necklace or pendant, whatever. So I don't like it to be precious. Good around the base of the girdle. Look up the girdle. Yeah, this leaded quartz is interesting stuff. Totally acts like a magnifying glass. And if it's 3000 grit, I'll usually spend a little bit of time on this wheel. It's kind of your last opportunity to get any haziness out and look for bigger problems with the gemstone as you're working on it. But so far this one is feeling really good. Nice. The quartz is starting to pop a little bit. Just a girdle. See that face really good now. So this is stone itself is plume agate from Graveyard Point, and we were slabbing it out in a big saw. And when we cleaned up this slab, this face popped out to us. We both saw it, my better half and I. And we were like, oh yeah, we got to do something special with this. So we went ahead and capped it with some of our lettered quartz. And so far so good. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is nice. I'm at the, this wheel is a 3000 grit. And then the last one, you jump all the way up to 14,000, which is kind of obnoxious, but do it anyway. Spend a few more minutes on this one. See if the face really coming out now. Turn the camera here just a little bit more if I can. There we go. The optics on it with quartz is kind of cool looking. Not bad for just a couple of rocks glued together. Yeah, when you get down to this grit, this stage of polishing, you can see just all the little tiny features, especially with that quartz on there, all the little tiny features of the stone underneath. I need to take a look here for any obvious glaring errors on my part. And I'll hit it just a little bit more on this stage, and then we'll move to the 14,000. So, Cooper Stonecraft, that's us. And we do everything from research on places to go, look for new material. Love to go treasure hunting, looking for old abandoned mines from the gold rush era. That's one of our favorite things to do. Just try to look for things that are out of the ordinary and polish them up. We have multiple rock saws all the way up to a great big 24-inch saw that takes care of our honkers. We slab everything out. If we see something we like, we'll cut it out of a slab and work on it, turn it into a cabochon. Throw it up for sale usually. Sometimes it never makes it out of the house. This one's probably not going anywhere, but you never know. My better half likes this one. Okay. So here we are. Which is, the face is over here, looking at the rest of the stone. On to the last stage here. Might move this thing back a little bit more. This one can be a little bit loud. Now, typically, this is the last stage, but with the quartz over the top, I'm going to actually have another stage after this, but we'll kill the video out because it's really boring to do the last part. And then I'll put it all together and we'll post the video. I'm bringing out the witch. With the girdle. Polish it this way. Off button. Finish her out. Someone asked, is that gold in there? No, it's not gold. Wish it was gold. Gold is thinking expensive right now. Take this bad boy over, put it on the flat lap, put it with some leather and some cerium outside, finish her up. I got it. For those that are still watching, thank you. And yeah, shoot us a subscribe and a like, that would be wonderful.
witch face looking down on the cabochon. And here's how it turned out. As always, the leaded crystal took a really good polish. And the rock itself is plume agate out of Graveyard Point. So you can't go wrong with that. Nothing like a witch face in Graveyard Point plume agate.